He only got one new face.
Right.
What do you think has caused runs on?
I think a lot of people always look at it as like everybody should just shoot the same percentage. But if your execution's not good, you're not going to get the same quality of a shot, right? You know, the easiest shot to give, probably the two easiest, is the step-in transition three, and then the step-in through from the ball being inside. It was inside one. So Fletcher Boyer can really shoot. He's improved his percentage. Braden Smith can really shoot. He's improved his percentage. Mason Gillis has improved his. He can really shoot. So they're guys that can shoot before. We've made better decisions. They put in a lot of work. We add Lance Jones, Miles Colvin, Cam Heide. All those guys can make open shots. Some of those guys are lower volume, so it's not as much. But it's just a lot of work and a group of guys that that came to Purdue that were skilled. And the year before, our execution wasn't the same. And we had some guys that were a little younger, and just that year of experience and maturity, I think, has just helped them.
Speaking of Braden, when you think back to the tape and seeing him live when he's at Westfield,
yes,
what impressed you? What made you say, I'm going to go after this kid?
Just how competitive he was, his instincts. He just knew how to play. He could play passing lanes and get steals. Just an unbelievable feel. The guy I reached out to and asked about called him a basketball savant. That's a hell of a compliment. And I was, you're sitting there watching tapes, you don't really know, and you don't know the person. But every single person that I reached out to, you got to be careful sometimes in recruiting. You don't want to alarm the opposition. You're trying to get somebody, especially when you start to get onto it, you're like, oh man, this guy's really good. He's about winning. He sees things, great instincts. And that basketball savant is pretty close because he's got to prove his ability to pass and see the floor. That he is that.
What's the calculus or the bigger picture involved in starting to have going from Trey like you do?
Say that again.
What's the bigger picture involved in going from Trey to open second halves like you have with some success?
Right, just trying to get him going. He didn't have a very good first half. And he's a good low post scorer. And if you don't go to him and get him involved, he's got to play off of Zach or play off of Braden. And then it clogs it up a little bit. So just, go to him. Because when he gets the ball there, 10 feet from the basket, he's pretty efficient. I think it's just this kind of, you start a game, you're going to go to him right away when you start the game. Like, like not go to Zach Edey. And so, balance it. Even though we've done it, we haven't done that a lot, but we really kind of look in that second half. He really should have another basket. We had the ball 5 feet from the hoop, and they pulled the chair out from under him. So, but no, he was great. He deserved to go back in. We just got in such a good rhythm right there. I just stayed with it.
It kind of feels like everybody contributed. Do you feel how connected your team is? Because it certainly looks that way.
Yeah, I thought, especially in the second half, I thought our defense was much better. I thought we did some really good things defensively. We got them into some tough twos, and that's really what we wanted to get. And we did a much better job rebounding. When you get into those runs, you got to get stops, and that's where it starts with. And then we started to push the ball a little bit, get some offensive rebounds, and then once we started getting going, establishing Zach, and they got into foul trouble, that's we're going to have success there.
Is there some confidence in this team in the second half, knowing that teams dealing with your depth and Edey, they're going to wear down a little?
Yeah, I think when you have depth, you got to make them feel it on both ends of the court. And that's hard to do. Sometimes you're able to do it. You're always able to do it more when you're making shots. And that's the goal. I talked about that after the game in the interview. It's just like, can you go win this next game and go to the Final Four if you don't shoot well? Well, everybody wants to shoot well. You don't flick a switch and say, hey, we're going to shoot well tonight. But can you do that? Can you grind those out? And I think that's so important. And that starts with defense, and that starts with rebounding. But when you do execute and you don't turn the basketball over on top of that, that's when you're going to have runs and be able to push the game out.
Matt, this team doesn't seem to feel pressure.
What's that?
You see it internally that this team doesn't seem affected by pressure.
I just think the Big Ten's a tough place. The venues we have to play in on the road. We played everybody non-conference, especially in the last 2 years. So they've had a lot of experiences of playing, quality teams, some of the best teams in the country on the road and in neutral sites. And so just stay with it. We've done this before. Just stick with it and keep playing. Zach has a great line. When people get caught up about stuff, it's just a basketball game. it's really not that big a deal. Like, just stay with it, just keep playing hard. Like, everything that you're trying to do, you've done before. Just, be resilient and keep with it.
Matt, is there a uniqueness with this team and the way they approach this tournament? You go in the locker room after they win a Sweet 16 game and they look like their dog got kicked. They're just like, we got to do this again Sunday.
I'm probably guilty of that right there, plus my personality. We're kind of business as usual. We know, we learned a hard lesson last year. We really prepared and we got beat in the first round. We didn't look past anybody. They beat us straight up. So, we've had to feel that. And people can say what they want and do what they want. It's still something that you feel as a competitor, as a coach, and as a player. So, like, now it's kind of process-based. Like, you're happy you won, right? But you're just kind of waiting to go back, eat, take a shower, and get ready for the next game.
Braden had a historic game out there.
Yeah.
Just what was he able to do to control things everywhere?
Just make simple plays. Like, he had some nice drives there and made a couple nice shots, but for the most part, just took what they gave him, made some nice passes out, got some good post feeds into Zach, got a couple good lobs to Zach, but some kick-aheads in transition. But just taking what the defense gives him. When he does that and just kind of organically plays, that's when he's the most dangerous.
Just going back to that comment, talked about Fletch talked about going to Europe, about how it all started in the summer, coming off that tough loss and whatnot. Do you think these guys even think about that? Does it still fuel them? I don't want to say daily. I don't think they dwell on it, but
I think subconsciously it feels all of us. Like, nobody likes people who say derogatory things about them. Like, I don't care who you are. And especially when you tried hard, you put your best foot forward and they weren't successful, and that's part of competition. But, that's the silver lining for us, is that you got to learn from some tough losses. And that's what, like, when we lost our 4 games this year, learn from them. It didn't stop us from winning our league. It didn't stop us from getting a 1 seed. But here we are. Like, hey, we got to play our best basketball this time of the year, and just go into the game wanting to compete, wanting to execute, and just wanting to keep doing the job.
Cam seems to have kind of unlocked a new layer of value for you in the sense of the way tournament.
Right.
Kind of seeing that from his defensive
Well,
versatility.
what he gives us is another guy that can go get the basketball. So he can pick up the basketball and Braden doesn't have to. And I think that, allows me to play Braden the whole game. So now I can keep Braden out there. He doesn't have to push the basketball and pick the basketball up. Lance can do that. Cam can do that. Miles can do that. Even Morton can do that. So we have more people in there. And it's really helped us as we get into some cross matchups when we do that. But his ability to make a shot, you saw his athleticism there. He tried to make that next move, whatever. He just had to keep his pivot foot retracted. But I thought he did some really good things.
Now, when you look at Lance's first half, Nimhard's hitting tough shots, EK hits 2 threes, but they couldn't run away from you because Lance was so good on the other end. How big was that to keep pace with them when they were going off like that?
Yeah, just staying in the basket, just keep making it hard on Nimhard. You knew him and Hickman weren't going to leave the game. Braden didn't leave the game for us, but just trying to keep bringing people in to make it difficult. But we felt good about being up forward. He hit those 2 threes. They made some tougher shots. We wanted to keep them in to making some of those tough shots, and then execute better on offense. It wasn't bad in the first half, right? But we still had some moments there where we messed up some layups, and we had some opportunities that we should have taken advantage of.
This final 9 seconds in the first half, you bring Ethan in.
Right.
He fouls twice. They don't get a good shot off,
Right.
in part because of that.
Yeah.
He comes off to a standing ovation.
Yeah.
His job's usually pretty thankless right now.
Yeah.
Just what does that mean about him as a player and the reception
You
of that?
feel bad. Caleb doesn't play tonight. He plays just a little bit right there. Those guys have meant a lot to our program. And we've just shifted into a more skilled rotation. That's all we have. And so, like, now, getting those guys to where Miles, Cam can make those open shots and then use their athleticism there. And then when we sub Zach, having Trey as the 5 that we can throw the basketball to. So, like, we mixed around with a lot of things, even though, their minutes were more limited this year through that. And that's hard, right? When you're a team of, those guys are company guys, and I know they want to play. They want to play a lot. They also understand the big picture, and we appreciate that.
That's the biggest compliment you can give a guy, right?
No doubt. No doubt. It's hard, man. I've been there. I've been there in my career, this stuff, and it's frustrating because you want to help your team and you want to get out there and be able to do it, and then when you don't get those opportunities, what Ethan does a great job of and Caleb does a great job of is they help out other people. and because we got some youth that are playing in front of them, and now they help those guys out, and that just shows you their character.